Hello everyone. This is a bit of a different video than the usual low effort slop I make, but it's something I've been wanting to talk about for a little while now. As you almost certainly know, on September 4th of this year, the long-awaited sequel to Hollow Knight Silksong was released after around 7 years in development. I've been playing the game on my own because I love the original Hollow Knight, and I've loved my time with this game too. As of writing this, I've reached 100% in game completion, collected all the mementos, and I'm currently debating whether I want to go through the agony of Steel Soul or those god-awful speedrun achievements. I really love Silksong, and I know a lot of people are complaining right now about the game being too difficult, and asking Team Cherry for a nerf to things like double damage and the Savage Beastfly. But me personally, I haven't really felt that this game was too difficult. Hell, if they remove double mass damage, I might even go as far to say the game is a bit too easy. But maybe that's just me, because I would constantly replay the original Hollow Knight before the sequel came out. People pushing for an update that nerfs the difficulty of the game got me thinking about updates for Silksong, which led me to thinking about DLC. As you probably know, the original Hollow Knight got 4 free DLCs after its release, each adding new content and expanding the world. These DLCs were known as Hidden Dreams, a DLC that was most known for adding the boss's White Defender and Grey Prince Zote, the Grim Troop, best known for adding, of course, the Grim Troop fights, and the Path of Pain being added to the White Palace, Lifeblood, mostly a quality of life update, but did add the Hive Knight to the Hive, and last but certainly not least, Godmaster, the final DLC that let you revisit all the bosses you had defeated in the game, along with several additional new ones like Nail Masters Oro and Mato, Nail Master Sly, and of course, the iconic Pure Vessel. It also added the infamous Pantheon of Hollowness, a gauntlet requiring you to beat every single boss in the game in their ascended versions, aka making them harder, and occasionally throwing in a brand new twist on an old boss fight like the Message Lords being replaced with the Sister of Battle in this Pantheon. After numerous attempts and constantly dying to the Pure Vessel in this Pantheon, you've reached the end, or so you thought. The final challenge of the Pantheon of Hollowness, the Absolute Radiance, a much harder version of the Radiance boss fight in the base game. This would be your final, and to some, most difficult test before you could officially say you've conquered the Pantheon. Once you do, you are greeted with a brand new cutscene and ending. So what does this have to do with Silksong? Well, the original Hollow Knight had 4 DLCs. Why not Silksong? I think it's pretty obvious they have at least something planned for DLC in the game, because there's no way they aren't adding a way to revisit bosses like in the Godmaster DLC from the original Hollow Knight. So before any get announced, I would like to speak about my hopes for Hollow Knight Silksong DLC. I would like to preface that this is not a prediction video. I'm not going to pretend like I know what Team Cherry has planned for DLC. This is simply going to be me stating what I want for Silksong DLC. So if none of these things happen, I'll just be sad, I guess. I don't know, man. Without further ado, let's get started. For the first DLC I want added, I think it would be cool if the entering memories thing with the Needle-In was expanded upon. Throughout the game, you are required to play your Needle-In to enter the memories of 3 bosses to get to the end of Act 3. Nihilith, Carmelita, and Crust King Khan. However, there is a 4th memory you can enter that is way bigger than the rest, and this requires freeing the Green Prince in Sinner's Road. After freeing the Green Prince and then defeating the Cogwork Dancers, enter Act 3 and head to the far edge of Grey Moor. Here you will find Verdania, a new area that is incredibly small and doesn't have a lot to look at. However, you will also find the Green Prince here, with one of the Cogwork Dancers' bodies. Playing the Needle-In to enter the memories when next to him will allow you to enter a brand new area, Lost Verdania. This is a vibrant and beautiful area, showing what Verdania used to look like in the past, full of brand new enemies, bosses, and even mechanics. One problem with this area though. After recovering all the memory and reaching the top of the area, you will be greeted by the Green Prince, who will get pissed that you entered his memories and start a boss fight. This fight is known as the Clover Dancers, a sort of more difficult version of the Cogwork Dancers. So, what makes this fight so significant? Well, once you beat it, you are completely locked out of Verdania, and you will never be able to enter it again, meaning that if you miss the other boss in this area, that's too bad. You don't get to fight him. So first and foremost, for this DLC idea, make Lost Verdania somewhere you can always travel to, even after defeating the Clover Dancers. Like, come on man, you can see it on the map, that's all just area you can never visit again. And while you're at it, I think Verdania should be expanded upon a little bit too. Maybe add some benches or new collectibles to the area to make it feel a little more fleshed out. But that's not all I want for this DLC, no. When you enter Crust King Kong's memories, you will enter a brand new area known as the Coral Tower, in which you are forced to fight through a few arenas while climbing the tower before actually reaching the boss. In my opinion, this area looks absolutely beautiful, and I think it should be a full area. Looking back at old trailers, it might have been at some point, but in the version of the game we have now, it appears that the area was just reworked into an arena for a memory boss that you could only access once. I think we should have the ability to revisit the memory of this coral area in the same way we do as Verdania. I think it would be a great way to show off this beautiful area from the trailers and actually give players the opportunity to explore it, without it just being a boss arena. Maybe a couple new bosses, new enemies, I don't know. I think one of my biggest disappointments with the game when I played through it was learning that the coral areas from the trailers weren't actually full areas. So I think adding it as a memory area to the game could be a great way to bring it back. And even if they did decide not to make this area or any other new areas accessed by the Needlein, please make it so that Lost Verdania is always accessible. Please man, I'm begging you, I just want to go back. It's so beautiful, man. It's a nice area. Out of all the ideas proposed in this video, the next one is probably the most unlikely, but I'd like to bring it up anyway since I still like the idea. After finishing Act 3, it's pretty obvious that Farloom is not in a very good state. The ground is broken in a lot of areas, Bone Bottom is fucking demolished, and everyone is kind of miserable. But what if there was sort of an epilogue where we could revisit these areas and rebuild Farloom, bring hope back to the places, build new homes for the pilgrims, make it so that the kingdom doesn't look like a mess anymore after the events of Act 3. Now, I don't think this is ever going to happen, unfortunately, as much as I wanted to and how cute I think it would be. I feel like Team Cherry making a sort of epilogue kind of takes away from the ending of Act 3. I don't really know, I just think it would be cute working with the bugs like Sherma and Shocker to rebuild Bellheart. And that one place at the top of the Citadel. I'm sorry, I forgot to write the name for this video. The DLC would mainly be a bunch of quests and maybe some new areas and bosses holding items we need to rebuild Farloom. It might even introduce some new NPCs and pilgrims traveling from other places in the world of Hollow Knight Silksong, looking for a place to stay. Maybe some new vendors? This one is the one I have the least ideas for. I mainly just want to make sure Sherma is happy, okay? I'm sure you do too. I've seen the videos you make on him. For the next idea I have for this video, it obviously has to be the Godmaster type DLC. Now I'm calling it a Godmaster type DLC because I have no idea if the Godseekers will actually be utilized again. Regardless, it's not really too important to me if the Godseekers make another appearance for this DLC. What matters more is of course the ability to revisit bosses you've defeated, and the boss rushes, otherwise known as the Pantheons in the previous game. If this does happen, and let's be honest, it most likely will, I imagine it'll be very similar in concept to the Godmaster DLC. You'll be able to refight every boss you've conquered in 3 separate difficulties, their regular difficulty that you're familiar with, a more difficult variation with maybe a hard arena in some cases, or 2 of the boss in some cases, and a version of the previously mentioned difficulty except you die in 1 hit. The Pantheons or some variation of them will also be there, which will be a challenge where you have to face off against a series of bosses, with possibly a brand new boss awaiting at the end of each Pantheon. Beating all of the Pantheons, however many there may be, will result in the final Pantheon being unlocked, the Pantheon of Farloom, which is what I'll be calling it. Which, like the original game, will be a fight with every single boss in their more difficult form back to back, with occasional breaks at benches in between. Ultimately ending in the most difficult fight in the game, and a new ending. Now, I personally have no idea what the bosses at each of the new Pantheon could be, nor what the final boss of the Pantheon of Farloom would be, In the original game, it was the Nail Masters for the first 3, Pure Vessel for the 4th, and Absolute Radiance for the final. I don't know much about Silksong lore at the moment because I'm stupid, and I didn't really read too much of the lore dialogues. So I really don't know who would fit as a Pantheon finisher. Fuck it, bring back the Brooding Moloch, he'll be great. It'll be more surprising than any other character I could think of. Imagine he pops in at the end of Pantheon of Farloom, crushing Lost Lace or something. Imagine how fucking surprising that would be. You'd love it. Admit it. Well, that's all the ideas I have for DLC and Silksong. Actually, not really. I still have one more idea that I've been hiding and saving for the very end. And in my opinion, it's the best idea I've had yet. And if Team Cherry decides not to end up adding this as DLC, then I will be boycotting them and all their future products. That's right, the final and best idea for a Silksong DLC is the Playable Sherma expansion, baby! You play as Sherma, the lovable little singer that everyone meets at least once during their playthroughs. This DLC will be quite different from the main game, simply due to the fact that Sherma doesn't attack anything. Instead, you will slowly travel across Farloom until you reach a door you can't open, in which case, you will begin to sing to open the door. This will start a long and intense rhythm game that challenges even the masters at rhythm games like Osu, DDR, and that other game I don't want to mention. I truly believe that this DLC will be a mind-blowing experience for Hollow Knight fans, and unlike the rest of the DLC I mentioned, it should be a paid one on Steam for $15, because it's basically an entirely new game. And I mean, who wouldn't want to play as Sherma? Well, even if you don't, that's all the ideas I have for DLC right now. Sorry if this video is a bit of a mess, it's my first time making something like this, and not all of my ideas were as concrete as others, but nonetheless, I hope you enjoyed this, and let me know if you prefer this type of video or my regular slop. I really love Silksong, and I would really like talking about it more in the future. So please let me know if you'd like to see more of this. Maybe you liked the video too? Regardless, I hope you enjoyed watching, and I'll see you all later.